It's still recording? Oh,
Yeah,
recording
right now.
started. Got you.
Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome to the first episode of Real Talk TV Hawaii, the podcast, with your host, the Black Hawaiian. What's up, guys? I got my shirt here, repping the 808, guys. And I just got to let you guys know I got a great guest today. Our special guest, he's a perfect guy to launch off this whole new thing with the podcast. And he's been coming off of a win. If you guys watch BKFC, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, guys. Introducing right now, guys, Makaha's own John Barnard, the Untamable. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? What's up, brother? Nice to see you again. Last time we
Hey,
met, we was
pleasure's all
actually in
mine.
studio.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Well, I was gonna say that like you were on like the first bunch of recordings that I did for Real Talk TV Hawaii. Yes, thank you
Yes,
very
yes.
much. And
Glad,
and this is where
glad to
it's
be back.
it's so interesting because hey, it's been a while since you've been active. So, what, almost about 10 years now, and
For
and
sure.
and all of a sudden, man, like here you are again, getting back in the cage or ring. Like, first of all, like tell me, like, how did this happen? How did the whole BKFC thing happen for you?
So it happened through a friend of mine. So I'm now managing a boxing gym called Top Tiger Boxing. This gym has kind of been a huge blessing to my life. Kind of was the missing link to all of the forward progress that I made for my family, right? I left Hawaii, I think 2019 or 18, and then I moved to Tacoma, Washington, then Portland, Oregon, and then now Charlotte, North Carolina. And throughout that process, I was building and doing everything that I set out to do, right? Financial wealth, buying home, starting business, and just establishing myself financially. Once I was there, something felt empty, right? And so what I did is like, you know what? I had the most joy in my life when I was doing mixed martial arts. And so I started scouring Charlotte, North Carolina for a gym to train at. I went to maybe like 6 or 7 gyms and I couldn't find that piece of at the gym. And so I finally found a gym called Top Tiger Team Boxing, this gym here. And I just really fell in love with the gym and the owner of the gym and his moral values, his love for Christ and all that kind of stuff. And it was just great from there. So yeah, so that's where it started. And then I still didn't have an urge to fight yet. I just wanted to work out, and I felt like that was the missing piece of my life. Things were still chaotic, but much better. Right, the foundation was more firm, and I just couldn't figure it out. And I started coaching this girl named Andrea Carter, the analyst, Andrea Carter, and she's a ESPN reporter, and she wanted to fight, so I started coaching her and she won her first national invitational boxing tournament in Jacksonville, North Carolina, in two weight classes after 3 months of training with me. Never had a combat experience ever, and so being and involved in that journey of hers got me back into the groove of things. And in fact, it it doubled, it circled back. So basically how I got involved into MMA kind of happened again. So I never wanted to do MMA. I never wanted to do kickboxing. I never wanted to do any of the types of arts that I'm doing today. I just wanted to lose weight when I first started. And my coach,
Wow.
Colin McKenzie, he kept like encouraging me, like, you should, you're really good, blah, 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 this and that. And I just like, nah, I don't want to do this. Like, that's not in my heart. I'm not that fighter type, right? Got in a few street fights, but that's because I had to defend myself. And he was like, you know what? Okay, whatever. So he ended up having me corner him, and that was the thing that got me loving the sport. And then I had to do it. I did it again, and that was just amazing. Like that, what pulled me in. Andrea Carter, she
Yeah.
got me back. Her will, her tenacity, her drive, her willingness, her ability to learn. She reminded me of myself when I first started, and that's what got me back into it and interested in fighting again.
All right. Yeah, no, and I was gonna say, I remember when you left Hawaii, like you was kind of like having the whole EM Tongi thing, like priced out of paradise kind of thing,
For
and you
sure.
wanted to go and go towards computers. So tell us a little bit about that. Like what when you left Hawaii, like what was your job? What did you do?
So I left. I was when I was in Hawaii. I was a private school teacher. I was teaching technology and science for about 3 years at a school called New Hope, a very popular church out in Hawaii. And I was there for about 3 years, and I wasn't like, man. As everyone knows, teachers are overworked and paid so little, and underpaid. So I couldn't bear continuing to do what I was doing and basically living on like peanuts and not being able to give my family a better life than I had. And I feel like that's probably every parent's desire is to have their kids to do better than them, right? And so I felt like if I kept down the road of a teacher, I probably wouldn't be able to provide my kids a experience and a life that I wanted them to have. And so I decided to leave Hawaii and actually explore my career in IT. I've always been interested in IT, and so I went to the mainland knowing that if I did, I wouldn't have to fight nepotism. And I think that was the biggest thing that I was always fighting against in Hawaii is nepotism. I didn't know anybody in the IT sector, so for me to try to embark and get my foot wet in the IT space is very difficult. And so again, as I said, nepotism is a huge thing in Hawaii, as you know. It's uncles and aunties that's hooking up their nieces and nephews or siblings and stuff. So if I don't have any foot, a foot in the door, then it's kind of out of luck. I had opportunities to work at Pearl Harbor and construction work and all that kind of stuff. And I remember one of my teachers told me that I wouldn't amount to anything but a construction worker. And that's what prompt me to pursue a career in IT, as I already had this perpetual mindset of learning and wanted to grow in that area in that space. I knew that I would succeed, man, because Hawaiians, they succeed at everything that they put their mind to. We're hard workers, we're diligent, we're fairly loyal. A lot of workers, they stick with one job, and it's because I feel like Hawaii are like I feel like a Hawaii in general, the industry in itself, in any industry, they treat most of the Hawaiians as deployables, or not not the Hawaiians, but just in general, right? Because there's so much people fighting for the same positions, the same jobs, and so it's like, if you mess up, I'll just hire somebody else. You know what I mean? Whereas
Yeah.
when I did my research on moving, I realized that the mainland, it's hard to find a good person, a loyal person, right? Whereas Hawaii, they take it for granted. They take the fact that they have these loyal person for granted. The mainland, no, they treat those workers really, really well. And so that's what I
Wow.
knew that I was signing up for when I left Hawaii. And sure enough, that is exactly what I got. I started working with a company called Viewpoint, which is a construction technology company. They develop construction software construction software. And I worked with them for a little while, and my manager there really, really pointed me in the right direction. He guided me, he mentored me. This guy treated me like I was his son, pretty much, in a manner. He really helped me to foster a career that really propelled and put me into a really good place to take care of my family, which is ultimately the biggest thing that I really wanted to do and the reason why I left Hawaii.
Right. Wow. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, I remember that was going on, but like to be honest with you, I thought you were done with fighting. And especially because with the IT thing, and so like you said, it's crazy how you have the second coming, and the same way that you got involved the first time, it brought you back, and that's awesome to see because like yeah, you are a very good talent. I know we've seen you in Hawaii for a while, and so with the BKFC, like tell us about like how was it behind the scenes? I mean, you've worked with different promotions, like were they a really good promotion to work with, or like were they very professional? How were they?
Oh, absolutely. They're probably one of the most professional organizations I've ever worked for. And in fact, a few prior UFC fighters actually was fighting in the same organization, and they actually alluded to how professional this organization was. How, um, one second, one second.
All right. So while we're waiting for John to come back, we're actually talking with the Untamable John Barnard, and really talking about how he has actually taken his himself from Hawaii, gone to the mainland, and really right now we're just talking with him about his experience with BKFC, which is the Bare Knuckles Fighting Championships.
Sorry
So
about that.
again, Judge,
My daughter
no
was,
problem.
karaokeing. I don't know if you could hear that, but she was out there, yodeling in the background. So, as you know, I'm a father of three kids, and so
I love it.
it was great. So, but anyways, back to the topic on hand.
All right.
BKFC, man, unbelievable experience. Like unbelievable. I'm not sure how well organized and professional that they were the previous years, but I've heard some stories that they're halfway decent. It was halfway decent. That's like pretty much the main thing that I've been getting from a lot of the previous fighters, right? They're pretty good. They're all right, and all this kind of stuff. And I think after their fight with their last organization, their last event after before mine, which was against Tyler Perry and oh, not Tyler Perry, but what's his name? I keep saying Tyler Perry, Mike Perry and Luke Rockhold.
Yes.
That
Yeah, yeah.
organization in Denver. After I don't know if it was because of that they really buckled up and tightened up their whole management experience and everything. But
Wow.
oh my, it was so well developed. It's so good that before each match and after match they do what's it, a concussion test. So
Oh,
they're
wow.
checking for, like, they so in tune with the fighters, like they're so in, like the health and wellness of the fighters are like the top
Wow.
priority in this organization. They
And
take
that's
care of
pretty good.
five-star hotels, take care of food and just everything. Like we're there's someone that's available, accessible to us at all times. So if we need any questions, anything, like they're there. Oh man, I could just go on for days and days on how professional and how great this organization has treated us. And I was the first fight of the night, right? I'm thinking that I'll probably
Yeah.
get treated like deplorable, right? But no, these guys treated me as if I was the main event as well. They treated every single
Wow.
fighter super well. And yeah, it was a great experience, man. Really, really great
Wow.
experience. And I was able to
That's
share that with my brother. Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's really good to hear. Yeah. Oh, and then yeah, thank you. You're alluding to your brother. I was going to mention that in a little bit. So yeah, so you actually had family come up and help you. Your brother was your corner and your dad.
Yeah, so no, just my brother. My brother was the corner, one of my cornermen. We've worked
Oh,
with each other, we've trained with each other for a long time, back in the days, back in Team Ruthless and God's Army days. So he's always been by my side through it all. He hasn't been really coaching me much, but he knows what kind of coaching I've come from, and he knows what my style is and what I possess as a fighter. So it was great to have him there, the moral support and just the encouragement that he was able to provide. And then the other corner that I had was Mason Brown, who is a new member to the family from Charlotte, North Carolina. So he's a native here that I've Hanai'd into the family. So he's a brother now. And yeah, that was the crew that was able to experience this, and they were just stunned too. Like it was a great opportunity, man. Great opportunity that I was able to share with them. Yeah.
so for people out there that may be from Hawaii and might know some of the fighters out here, who is your brother?
Oh, my brother's Chris Barnard. He's a former fighter as well. He fought
Yeah,
on the X1. He fought on a few of the X1 world tournaments, the heavyweight tournaments. He fought under HFC, Hawaii Fighting Championships. He fought in a handful of events as well in Hawaii. So he's a local fighter as well from back in Hawaii. He owns his own clothing company, and he's been sponsoring me through this fight and helping me deal with a lot of the personal relationship stuff, the PR stuff that I would have had
yeah,
to deal with, that is such a pain in the butt sometimes, but still worth it, to allow
yeah. Very
these
important. Yes.
organizations to partner with me and help me along this journey. It was great, and so I'm really grateful for that. But now I got more of a support system and a team that's going to help me guide this career if I do continue down this path, if God's willing.
Oh wow, that's really good to hear, man. Yeah, no, I gotta say, man, I was really blown away to hear that your brother came out there to corner you. Family is always important, and your brother has experience, and like you said, like he knows how you fight and who you are when you're in the cage or ring. So that
Yeah,
was awesome.
he
I
definitely
was
had the
gonna
most
say,
confidence.
right, yeah. So like you mentioned that you had some sponsors for this one. Can you name some of the companies that were sponsoring you from
Oh,
Hawaii and also the guys
well,
up there?
For sure. So one of the companies that sponsored me was Lucky Owl Rental Car Company. That's a Honolulu company
Oh yeah.
started in Hawaii. Um, what else? Misguided Individuals, another clothing brand. Top Gun Barbershop, Faded with Aloha. That is a barbershop that's opening up in the airport area region. I forgot the name of that specific area. Then I also have
Yeah.
the New Level Apparel, which is my brother's
Oh,
clothing
okay.
line. And then I also have two, well, I don't want to say two mainland, but um, South Carolina, a South Carolina construction company called Precision Construction, took the chance on me and sponsored me as well, which is really really cool. And then I also have a BK Bet Shark, which is another really cool sponsor that ended up jumping on board kind of last minute. But this guy was like, you know what, I didn't know you're fighting, I want to be on board, and I was like, sure. We made it happen, got him on, and I'm just grateful for these individuals. And then we got King Eddie. I'm not sure if you remember him.
Yes, I'm looking at it.
He
Yeah.
was a huge part in this too. That guy, man, is like a brother too. That guy was adopted into Hawaii as well and in the Hawaii fight scene. But he's in Charlotte, or I'm not Charlotte, but South Carolina as well. Biggest
Oh
supporter
wow.
out there, man. So he showed up with his daughter, and it was such a blast. He took care of me and my family like never before, man. And he has a comic book called, I think, um, Mocha to Makai or something like that. It's a pretty cool comic book that he's got going out as well, and he sponsored me as well. So great. I had my siblings. I had two of my other sisters that ended up showing up as well. My cousin Manu Boy showed up. My sister Lana, my sister Fallon,
Wow.
and my brother Chris. So I had a handful, decent amount of family that showed up, and then I had really good amount of people that came from Charlotte, North Carolina, my new Ohana that came out. I had about 40 people that showed up that drove over 2 hours to watch me fight, which was super,
Wow.
super awesome. And to be honest, it added a little bit of pressure, right? Because now I got to put on for not only this, my family, but I got to put on for some of my clients, some of my teammates, all of these people that showed up. I'm like, dang, but yeah, it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
really, really cool. Made some new
Wow.
fans, so that's awesome. Of the organization, not just me, because they already been my fan, but I made them fans of this BKFC stuff, and they're literally true. Like they
Mhm.
believe they're some believers now, man. They really, really enjoyed themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, I caught it on television as well, and I was blown away, man. It was really awesome to see you, in the cage competing again, man. Or the ring. You know what I mean? That was awesome. So I gotta ask you, man. When so like going into this fight, like how did you feel, about like because like you got one of your friends and they kind of set you up on like a last minute deal. I guess what a fighter fell out, so then you were like the replacement.
Oh no, I don't think so. I'm not sure actually. I don't know the full details. I just connected with a guy named Daryl. I forgot his last name, but he had a post on Facebook stating he was looking for fighters, and I just hit him up. Like I was reaching out to some other organizations as well. I reached out to BKFC as well, and nobody got back to me. But I've been trying to fight. After my homegirl fought in the USA boxing tournament, I was reaching out to all these organizations like, hey, I want to fight, man. Like telling them like I'm over here trying to plead my case to fight on their card. Trying to convince them that I'm gonna put on a show. I'm
Right.
nobody here, right? This is a huge different, a huge organization, huge, like there's tons and tons of organizations that I'm trying to reach out to, tell them, hey, put me on your card. I'm gonna be the best for tonight. I'm gonna do this. They don't care about none of that. They just want to know if you're gonna sell
Right.
tickets and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna sell
Right.
tickets too. That's part of being a great fighter. Blah blah blah. And nobody wanted to give me the shot. So I seen this guy posting, "Hey, you looking for fighters?" I was like, you know what? I've been asking, reaching out to all these fighters, these organizations for a match, and nobody was giving me any play. And so he's like, "Oh, I can get you a fight." Next day, he hit me up. You want to fight BKFC? I was like, "Sure, yeah, let's go." And he's like, "Okay, well, we got this guy that's 150, 155." I was like, "Shoot, sign me up." I didn't, no questions asked, just give it to me. So he ended up connecting with the promoter, the matchmaker, and he got me the match, man. And at that same time, a company called BYB reached out after. I reached out to them first a while ago, and then they ended up reaching out to me around the same time that I ended up getting this match. And I was like, hey, he asked, hey, do you want to fight? I was like, yeah, I've been wanting to fight, but I already got a match with BKFC. So, I have to
Well,
turn to
what is
BYB now.
BYD?
I have no idea what they stand for, but they're like the second biggest bare knuckle boxing
Oh,
organization, I
wow.
believe. Yeah, so they're a pretty
Okay.
good one. I heard that they treat their fighters really, really well as well.
Wow.
So yeah, this bare knuckle boxing thing is moving, man. And Paul Malignaggi is one of the co-hosts of the BYB organization, along with I think
Okay.
um, what's his name? He used to work for the UFC. He was one of the announcers for the UFC. Michael Goldberg, I think, or something like that. Mike
Oh,
Goldberg.
yeah, my goodness. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so those two
Oh,
are
wow.
the announcers for the BYB. So it's a legit organization. I've actually shot photos for them and Global Legion and a few other organizations in the same area, and I was connected with the matchmaker for BYB. So, yeah.
Wow. So, so like, take us through like, so you go and you do this weigh-in. So is that when you met your opponent for the first time, or did you go to like
That
a
is
press conference?
No, that was the first time that I've met. Well, I seen him at the press con. Well, not the press. Well, I guess you can call it. It's like interviews and stuff like that. It's called PR day, I believe they call it,
Yeah,
BKFC.
yeah, yeah,
And we
yeah.
go a day before the weigh-ins, and we do our photos, interviews, signing posters, and all these kind
Mm,
of personal relationship and brand type of things that you would be accustomed to with these big organizations. And I seen him
yeah.
there, but before that one of my friends out here, Josh, and well, and then Tony Loco Soto, who headlined that card, said that this guy
Okay.
was talking about me. He had interviews just talking about he's gonna knock me out and make me bleed and all this kind of stuff. And I told him send me a link to what he's saying because I wanna read what this guy really thinks about me and all that kind of stuff. And so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
shoot me over a link to his profile post, and it said post unavailable. I'm like, what? And so what happened is I believe he blocked me. So he blocked me this
Oh,
whole
wow.
time. And yeah, so he blocked me and I couldn't see nothing of it. So my friends are like screenshotting things, showing me what he's saying. I'm just cracking up like this guy literally
Oh,
blocked
man.
me. Like what? I didn't even know he had a social media, but he blocked me. And um I seen an interview he had where he's talking about how he's gonna knock me out and he's gonna make me bleed and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just cracking up like either this guy has no idea who he's gonna fight or like I don't know what like or he's just delusional, because
He's promoting,
I
right? He's doing
yeah
his
he's
job promoting it.
exactly
Right, right,
I think it was maybe so I yeah I think he put too much pressure on himself for that too, you know what I mean? Now he has to come
right.
out and do what it do, because all that talk
Yeah.
you got to back that stuff up.
Okay. So at this weigh-in now,
Hmm.
he's talking trash to you.
Hmm. Yep. He
Yeah.
is
Oh,
actually.
wow.
I don't know exactly what he was saying because it was really loud. The fans and crowds were screaming and stuff like that and chanting and all that kind of stuff. And all like I heard him talking smack, saying he would knock me out or something like that. I forgot. You ready? You better be ready. This and that. And I just started laughing like, bro. I hope you. I all I could think is like I hope you can scrap. Like I hope you can beef. Like that's the only thing is like I hope you can throw down because
There
I
you go.
want a good fight. Like that's all I could think, and I just started cracking up. Like this guy is probably full of crap. He is full of himself. He has no idea. And I ended up watching a one of my friends sent me an interview where he says that he knows me. He actually used to he used to live in Hawaii. This guy. So
Wow.
that was really interesting. So he ended up knowing that I was from Waianae, Makaha, and he was like, the guys from
Wow.
Makaha, they can scrap, he's a scrappy dude and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, so he does know. He confident. So that even made me even more like, oh, I'm gonna turn up on this guy now. So I couldn't take him
Wow.
lightly now because he knew that hey, I am from Hawaii, and he recognized that Hawaii has a lot of great talent out there. And I was like, okay, well, this guy
Right.
he must be tapped. He must be pretty well versed, or must have pretty decent striking or something. So yeah, interesting.
Something. Wow. Okay, so now comes the day of the fight, and you guys are in the cage, or in the ring. Like,
Mhm.
take us through like the emotions, man. How did you feel? Because you were like out of like fighting for like almost 10 years, right?
Absolutely. So, this is like honestly, I've been in a handful of interviews, and that's probably one of the most important questions that everyone wants to know is like, does a 10-year layoff kind of really mess with you? And
Yeah.
personally, it did not at all. And the reason why is because I find so much enjoyment in this art. I've always enjoyed this martial arts and kickboxing, all that kind of stuff. And so when you have a joy for something, when you step away and you come back, it's like riding a bike, right? It's fun. You remember how fun it is to ride a bike, right? And then you stop, maybe
The
your
moment you
cardio
can.
ain't that great, but it's still, you still remember how fun it was riding that bike. And that's what it was for me. It was just
Yeah,
super exhilarating and fun. I just couldn't wait. I was excited, ecstatic, and that's what all it was, and I knew that I would just perform. I adapt really well, I adjust quickly, and striking, that's literally my bread and butter. That's what we
yeah,
all know me as, as a striker.
right.
And so yeah, it was interesting. It wasn't too bad.
Well, and like we had talked about this earlier. Like you being from the west side of Oahu, kind of like that's kind of the thing that everybody kind of is known for on that side of the island is having great hands, right?
Yeah, yes, I definitely feel like most people on the west side do have a extraordinary gift of throwing them balls. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely. We got them hands. I think we're registered killers when it comes to our striking ability in the west side, and it's been always the rest of the islands trying to defy those those norms, right? Because we were known as some of the elite strikers in the West. There's a
Right,
ton of
right.
fighters that are fighting in the top level that are actually proving to that pedigree that we've set precedent for. And so, but yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, I mean, you definitely showed it in this fight. I mean, so now like, you're in the cage fighting with this guy, and he hits you a couple of times. How did it feel? What was it different than wearing like MMA or boxing gloves or when you
A-
train, man?
It
Was
actually
there any difference?
Yes, it definitely is. It's crazy. So what I've been telling people is like feeling like if anyone ever had their cabinet door open and they actually just crank their head on top that corner of the cabinet door, like that's how each shot feels. It feels like either they whacking you on the corner of like a table, like the corner of the table, or somebody's banging you with a corner of a brick. Like it
Wow.
hurt, man. It really, really hurt. So now I had to really adjust and be like, you know what? If I'm gonna take a shot, I'm gonna give this
Mm,
guy a shot that he's not gonna want to feel. And so I was very, very methodical when it came to that. Like
wow.
it really does hurt. It really hurts. Not to the point where I would give up. I don't think I have that ounce or bone in my body that
Uh,
would ever give up. But it it freaking hurt. And then come to find out, this guy's hands is probably like double my size. He was so yeah, it was crazy.
right.
It hurt. Oh man, I was just like I knew that once I got to the corner after the first round, I was about to tell my brother and just have him all cracking up because I'm like, bruh, this shit hurt. I don't want to be in no slugfest. No, no, no. Whoever does, man, props to them. I'm always a slugger. That's always I always fought. But oh my, I guess we lost. I lost the homie. But anyways, I am a slugger first, and I had to adjust and not get involved into a slugfest because the thing hurts. Getting punched in the face felt like getting hit or walking into the corner of a door, not door, but a corner of a very solid material. It was crazy. It was really, really crazy. There, he loads it back in. Technical difficulties, I see.
I tell you, hey, only in
Technical
Hawaii, I tell
difficulties.
you, man.
You got that
Yeah.
you got that McDonald Wi-Fi, that's why, huh?
Hey, I tell you,
Uh,
bro, hey, hey, the Hawaiians that I get holding the antenna, I don't know, but they got a point toward Diamond Head.
yeah, these
Yeah,
many hoonies gotta start acting right, huh? These many hoonies.
I tell you, man.
Wi-Fi many hoonies.
Sorry about that, man.
No,
So
no, no,
sorry.
you're
So
good.
yes. So you were saying, man?
So I was just saying that it just felt like getting cracked by the corner of a table, like walking into the corner of the table, and like, oh man, yeah, I just either he was punching me with bricks or whacking me with the corner of a board or something. It hurts, man. It really, really do hurt. So
Wow.
any
And
fighter
so
that's out there slugging, I give those
yeah.
fools props, man, because that shit hurts really, really bad. Go
Wow.
ahead.
So I was gonna say, like, but they still wrap your hands with gauze and tape.
They wrap all of these, so the metacarpals and carpals. So everything from here on down they wrap, which is good because a lot
Okay.
of the breaking and stuff like that happens in the carpals and metacarpals area, these little
Yeah,
bones here.
yeah.
And then also, most of the fighters that break their hands, they're breaking it on these two small knuckles, and that's what I've uncovered. I had like five bare knuckle boxing fighters that actually was helping me train. I either sparred with them and they're like, "Man, you're gonna kill in this BKFC bare knuckle boxing thing," and then we just started connecting, and I started picking their brains into like, what does it feel like? What do you think you done could have done better? And these fighters that I'm talking about, like they have winning records in the bare knuckle boxing. Like Tony Loco Soto is now 5-0, I believe. Josh, who's I think like 2 or 3-0, he just fought some guy the day after my event for a 135 BYB title, and he lost by decision, which is crazy because he was destroying this guy. And for him, he broke his two knuckles, so he couldn't punch, and so that was one.
Oh,
Who else? This guy named Ryan Jett, another savage up here, a beast, like really, really, really good fighter up here. He's fighting in BYB. I think he's like 2-2 or something, but one of his losses he lost by disqualification. So these guys are animals. Like they're really, really good at bare knuckle boxing. They've really found themselves. They figured this thing out a little bit, and so it was great to really pick their brains and kind of redefine and refine what they already know and kind of try to perfect it a little bit. As I was telling a lot of the announcers for the BKFC, is like this bare knuckle boxing has a ceiling, right? And we're not even close to that ceiling. Whereas boxing, we're at the ceiling. There's no more that we can get. Like, there's no boxer that can get better than Floyd Mayweather or Lomachenko or um, Juan Manuel Marquez. Like the technical side of boxing has reached its peak in regards to a fighter just really redefining boxing. There's really nothing, right? It's already at its optimal ability, right? So, I say Muhammad Ali pioneered boxing
yeah,
to a different level, right? And then Mayweather
yeah.
completed it. Like Mayweather, his style just really perfected it. And then where this bare knuckle boxing is just starting. People are starting to figure it out. They don't have it figured
Yeah.
out. I think the closest person that I feel that figured this out, that unfortunately he just gave up, was Chad Mendez. That guy's a beast. And if you've seen
Wow.
his fight, he is a really good boxer in this thing. Like he's a good street fighting boxer. And I don't know if
Yeah.
he figured it out or he is just bringing his UFC experience into this, and it looked really clean. Very technical, sharp, explosive, all that kind of
Wow.
stuff. And I just was like thinking, like, if this guy's 135, man, I'm gonna have a problem with this guy. So that's the only guy that was kind of giving me a little worry. Is like, damn, I have to fight Chad Mendez, but I'm gonna have fun with that guy. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do what Max Holloway did to Aldo and take that guy out eventually. So
There
yeah.
you go. There you go. Well, hey, so the next thing is this, like, so you're inside, you're fighting with this guy, and the punches really hurt. Like what, did you have a game plan for this guy, or like did you like watch prior tape on him earlier to kind of figure out like how you were gonna try to dismantle this guy or what?
I watched a fight of his. He fought a guy named Brandon Allen, I believe, and Allen was just jabbing him and just hitting him on the button. But Brandon Allen looked pretty big too, taller and just longer. And so what I noticed is
Mhm.
that this guy Josh Murr was very slow, and I was like, oh man, I'm way faster than Brandon Allen. My timing is way better and faster and all that kind of stuff. And I felt like I just had a better boxing
Yeah.
foundation overall. And
Wow.
so what I didn't really change up a little bit. What's his name? Falanico Vitale really kind of stuck in my mind through this training camp. When I fought Rita Kashi in the Tough Man Hawaii back in the day, one
Mhm.
thing that he said is I was like the Matrix. Like I was staying in the pocket, exchanging with this guy Ritakashi, and he couldn't touch me, and I was just lighting him up. And I just knew it was like I can do that. And so I just started thinking about how can I stay in the pocket, adjust, pick my shots and all this kind of stuff. And I started creating like training regimens in my gym that I brought to my team so that we can practice inside fighting, but not
Uh,
getting touched. And so I was practicing that for a little bit, and then more so just working on contact, precision, and timing. So the contact, it needs to be with these two big knuckles, and I've been a lot alluding to that a lot because a lot of fighters they're punching with their two small ring and
Yeah, yeah,
pinky finger, right, knuckles, and those knuckles are very fragile compared to the big knuckles. And so now it's just adjusting my hand a little bit so that every time I punch, it's always on those two knuckles, and that's pretty much what I was doing. I was touching this guy right on the button on each shot, and it was just timing, knowing where his chin would move, kind of calibrating him and all that kind of stuff. And that's something that I kind of got from Tony Loco Soto when I sparred this guy. Like me and him got into a few wars, and after a while he started kind of downloading me, and he started catching me. I was like, this freaking guy is so smart and with the game. Like after a while of me sparring with him, he started figuring out my timing and all this kind of stuff. I was like, oh, this guy. And so that's where I started kind of adjusting and like downloading him, downloading my opponent, and being able to adjust it, seeing where he likes to move, where his head trails after each shot,
what he
and I was
likes to
able to
do, right?
land. You know what I mean? So I was able to, and my goal was to focus in this area right here. That's it. I just wanted to focus in this area right here, and
Yeah,
that's what I did. You know what I mean? I tried to time most of my shots here. I didn't want to punch over here or anything on this area because that's going to break my hand. Right? Those areas are really solid. So that's all I did. And I tried. I wanted to drop him with a body shot. Like I wanted to finish him with a body shot. I thought that would be pretty cool because I've been known to drop guys with body shots out in the gym. So I was like, oh,
yeah.
maybe if I can do that, that'd be pretty cool. So, but it went
So,
this
but
way.
you did actually attack the body, right?
I did, yeah. I
Yeah.
hit the body. I was trying to it was all kinds of things going through my head. I was trying to win in a very fashionable, right? I was trying to put on a really good show for the fans, and then I didn't want it to go too fast. That's why I was kind of trying to rip the body a little bit. But another thing that came into my mind is when Javante Davis did that slip, and then he came up with that front uppercut and knocked that
Oh
one
yeah.
Hispanic guy out, and I was trying to land that. Like a few times, I actually did that, and I rolled into it, and I just popped up with that. I popped up with a uppercut and I literally I just missed it. So it was really really cool. I was super close a few times from knocking this guy out, and I did it. It was oh, man, but I was hoping, man, that would have been a sick layout.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
totally. You have that fall boom. Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, even though you're still very impressive for your first BKFC fight to come out with a win. And what was the official time again?
2 minutes on the dot. It was 2 minutes of the first round. So I knew that I only had a few seconds left in the I heard the 10-second reminder, doc doc doc. I was like, oh shit, let me get in here and try to finish this guy, drop him again, 4 times. And I was over here trying to beat Allen, what's his name, Brandon Allen, who fought him, right? Brandon Allen beat him as
Yeah.
well, but I think Brandon got him on the second round, third round, I
Wow.
forget. And it wasn't because he quit. Right, it was because the ref stopped it. The ref was like, "No, you taking too
Yeah.
much damage." Whereas I
Yeah.
actually stopped him, like he gave up, or they consider it a knockout. So, overall
Right.
it was good. It was great, and I was able to secure the win in the
So
first
you
round.
actually dropped him 4 times, right?
Right, correct.
So
I did.
is that part of the rule? Is that if you drop someone, I guess 4 times in one round, or is that like a TKO
Nope,
as well,
nope.
or
It's
like
actually there is no knockdown rule, so they don't have a
oh okay.
knockdown.
Oh, so you
I've
can
seen
knock him
guys
down
get
in less
knocked.
than
Yep, as much as I can, but it all depends on the fighter. Like this one, he actually gave up. I
yeah.
dropped him. I broke his nose with an uppercut, and then he gave up. Like he literally just gave up, and yeah, he just didn't want to fight. As you can see at the fight, he just literally gave up. You could see it in him. Like he just
Yeah.
dropped it. He was like, no, his nose was just pouring blood, and yeah,
So
he was done.
so here's something interesting is how many rounds and how many minutes are each round?
So it's 2 minute rounds, 5 rounds.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
Wow.
action. So action from bell to bell. Yep.
Yeah, you don't have that much time to be running around. Yeah.
Nope, no running around
Wow.
in this boy. And so that's why it was very important for me to actually really I guess make a statement as quick as I can, establish my dominance, secure ring control. Because there's not that much time to really play around. So yeah,
Yeah.
I had to do what I had to do.
Wow. Okay. So you go in there. You haven't fought in almost 10 years, and you come up with the W. Like how did you feel? Like actually going in there and proving doing what you knew you could do. Like how did you feel about that?
I felt I felt well. I forgot that's somebody had a surprise. I was like, all I could think was like, what was people really surprised that I would be able to return the same way that I've started? You know what I mean? I didn't feel like I said, genuinely feel like if you enjoy something, you can return to it with the same kind of grace and energy and focus and commitment to it. So I really, really enjoyed this stuff, and it hopefully shows through the reason, like through all of my acts and my doings. Right, I'm in graphic designing to support the fighting. I do photography to support the fighting. I'm coaching people because I love fighting. Like I've been involved in this stuff for so long, and in every facet of mixed martial arts that it
Yeah,
should hopefully like ferment my enjoyment and love for this art, you know. And so when I had that feeling, I just knew that I would just come back in there and just kick back off where I left off, just like us talking story, you know what I mean? I never talked to you a
yeah,
long time, and boom, we're just back at it because we enjoy our conversations, and that's the same thing I feel with mixed martial arts. I just enjoy it, and so when I come back to it, it's like, hey, how you doing, my boy? Yep.
yeah. Well, no, hey, and you know what? Like the results show for itself. I mean, you went in there and in 2 minutes, man, you were able to put on an amazing clinic. So which brings me to my next question is I saw the interview that you did like shortly after, and so you're wearing your Hawaiian flag, with all of that pride and one of the things that I like that you said, and I kind of wanted to elaborate on this is that you were saying how like there's a lot of John Bernards back at home where I'm from. I'm just one of many. And I thought that was a pretty cool statement. And like, do you mind like kind of like saying maybe some of the names that you were kind of thinking about? I mean, because like we talked about this earlier, like boxing is one thing, but bare knuckles boxing is a whole different type of
It
fighting.
is. It is.
And
It
and
definitely
so,
is.
so you feel that it more I guess is accommodates like how we fight here in Hawaii.
It definitely accommodating to the local fighting style. We got a ton of great fighters in Hawaii. You know, I could drop a few names in the west side, and then I can go all the way down to the east coast. You know, so for example, Konake, as you may know, that guy's he's a thumper when it comes to the mixed
Oh
martial
yeah,
arts fighting. You know, he's the
yeah.
XMA, and he would do great in this bare knuckle boxing thing.
Wow.
Who else? But hell, yeah, that would be a great guy. Even Josh Ferreira back in those days, Josh Ferreira would probably do good. Richard Bernard, I think he could do decent. I feel like I think even my brother could do good if he ever wanted to get his foot out his butt and get back into the groove of things. My nephew, Savon Bernard, he would be a little hammer at it too. I got tons of nephews that would do great at this crap. You know, tons of my
Wow.
nephews would kill this sport. My little brother Michael, if he ever wanted to do this kind of stuff. Who else? We got all kind. Lawrence, Shaisen, remember Shaisen Laupola? All of these guys would kill it out there.
Yeah.
It would be, it wouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised. I had a conversation with Max Holler. I told him, bro, would you ever do this? He's like, hell no, you guys are crazy. But I think if the money was right, Max would do it. This guy is literally bare knuckle boxing with MMA gloves. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
not that
Right.
much of a difference. And he's sitting in the pocket with animal strikers and just exchanging with them like he has no gloves. You know, it's just as similar. It's like boxing with MMA gloves. But now you just
Yeah.
take off the MMA gloves, you know. It's hard to move. It's hard to slip MMA gloves, right? Because and it fits in between your guard, so
Yeah.
you know, and then East
Yeah.
Coast. Imagine if we got, or even Harris Sarmiento, Cleo Kwan. Those guys would
Yeah.
kill in this score. And then Maui, we go to some Brandon Vischer or Big Island, some Van Oscar. Man, these guys
Oh.
would freaking shred in this thing. You know, hopefully they still have it. You know, even Core Carpuz, we got Khalil, not Khalil Khan, but Core Ramos would do killer at this.
Oh yeah.
Man, we got so much, but I'm speaking on the OGs. No, Nainoa Dung would probably bang out in this too, and most of his fighters that he's coaching would do really, really well at this kind of stuff. So there's tons of talent in the West Side, tons of talent on the entire island that would do really, really well. Even Brother Boy probably be knocking out guys left and right if he got into this. You know,
Yeah.
Jace, what is his name? Jace, I forgot his
Yeah. Jason.
Kapua or
Yeah.
something like that. He will do
Before,
really
yeah.
well at this. He's a little banger too, and
Yeah.
any other guys from 808 Top Team, 808 Fight Factory, Hybrid House, Nito Boxing. They got a handful of fighters out there who do really well at this if they ever wanted to do some bare knuckle boxing, and everyone else, that is fighting out
Right.
there.
Yeah. Wow. No. Hey. And so, which brings me to my next question, man. Is which is totally the obvious at this point. Is like I mean, everybody when they talk about Hawaii fighters, they always talk about Hawaii fighters got great standing, and so we know that. The question here is this, dude. Do you think that bare knuckles should come to Hawaii, dude?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like they would sell this. I'd say they would sell out the Blazed Out like that, bro. One thing that a lot
Wow.
of or one thing that Hawaii and just everywhere does is the FOMO. I'm pretty sure you heard of FOMO, right? The fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
if we got something new like this in Hawaii, everybody and their mama gonna be wanting to support it because it's something new, right? Um, I remember growing up in high school where, we'd get into a street fight and everyone would meet up at a central location across the street from the school called Rings, and we would have like 300 kids waiting to watch this crap. This bare knuckle stuff is legitimately real. This is no fakery. This is not played. Like you are trying to thump somebody's head off. You can't fake it. And so I think Hawaii wants to see something new. The art of mixed martial arts in general felt like it needs an awakening, and I think this bare knuckle boxing could do that. It could really
Wow.
reignite the fighter and warrior spirit in Hawaii again. We really need this, man,
Oh,
for
wow.
real. Yeah,
Wow,
I
and
definitely feel
for
so.
me, I gotta say
It would,
that I agree with you as well. Is as Polynesians, man, we're warriors. So we're bred to fight totally, and like
yeah,
bare knuckles fight has come pretty far, and it's really getting people.
it's
I
yeah,
gotta say that. So the next thing is this, like you're not the first local guy to fight. In BKFC. You know,
yeah.
um, how I mean, like for me, like out of all the guys that I've seen, I think you're the most successful one from Hawaii. So can you talk about that a little bit?
I think a lot of these fighters kind of entered into the bare knuckle scene a little prematurely. Should I say? Like the art was still kind of forming. People still trying to kind of develop
Uh,
a good sense of awareness, and um, there's just a lot of things that was still uncovered, right? Unresolved, and a lot of these fighters still was just coming in there with a windmill mentality, right? Like they are street fighting. But this is not a street
yeah,
fight. These are individuals that are training to knock your head off. A lot of
yeah,
street fights you fight because you have to, right? And there's not people training to, you know,
yeah,
um, street fight. There's not much, right? People,
yeah,
well, I guess why not? We do. We've always trained to street fight and all that kind of stuff. But overall, in the mainland, a lot of the fighters that are fighting here, they're just windmilling, hoping to get a knockout. They're starting to adjust, right? They're starting to figure this out that there is an art that you can put to this sport. And I feel like
yeah,
a lot of our locals came into this sport thinking that they can do what they did when they fought kickboxing and boxing and MMA, and you cannot. This is a bare knuckle match. You don't want to get hit. You want to hit and not get hit, ultimately, right?
yeah.
Unless
Well,
you can take
that's
power.
that's the actual idea to boxing is hitting without getting hit back. That's the art, right? That's where
Right,
Mayweather shows us how it's done, but not everybody has the same
right.
idea. So
Right,
yeah,
but Mayweather was able to take a hit, right? Mayweather was sometimes willing to take it. That's where that Philly shell came in, right? He's pairing those shots.
give to
You,
get.
you
Yep,
exactly. So there is a sense of like willingness, right? To like, hey, I know that I'm gonna have to take a shot to close this distance or to counter this area, whatever the case may be, right? So ultimately, it is a interesting thing to concept to consider, right? Is in the boxing, it is set up that way, right? Where you hit and not get hit, but it's rare that you see Mayweather's anymore. And so
yeah,
for these fighters to think that they can do that is really unlikely. And so that's what I was noticing about these our locals, Rachel, Jonathan, Del Sope, Zach Zane, Kendall Grove. All of these guys were trying to thump it out, and not necessarily what you want to do, especially when you're fighting guys that has no technique and they're just wild windmilling. it's hard,
Yeah.
man, to fight these wild people. And so um that's the one thing that I feel like they kind of failed on, is just realizing like you cannot box guys that don't know how. It's hard to box guys that don't even know how to box, kickbox guys that don't know how to kickbox, or grapple. Like grappling with somebody that has no grappling experience, those guys are probably the ones that will get you hurt, right? The most is the ones that don't know. And
Yeah.
that's what I feel like a lot of these fighters were. They weren't boxers. They were just street fighters trying to come in and make a name or make a paycheck. And that's where I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
these fighters in Hawaii failed to realize. And I was able to watch
Wow.
and experience all of this through my really good friends, and seeing them lose
Yeah.
and taking from what they've learned. They would pour into me,
Yeah.
Dale, Jonovan, and Ray Chostovich. They was telling me some good advice, letting me know, hey, hit and don't get hit. Start off first, all that kind of stuff. So, and a lot of people
Oh, it's great.
reiterating that, hey, my style would work really well for this. And so, yeah, I think I'm glad that they pioneered the way for sure, because it taught me a lot. I was able to experience,
Oh,
well,
that's good.
was able to break down what they probably did wrong as a coach, right, and kind of add that
Yeah.
to my arsenal, and improve myself. Yeah,
So okay, so here's an interesting question for you, man. So you're part Hawaiian, right? You have
I am.
Hawaiian blood?
Yep, I'm
Okay.
Hawaiian, Black, German,
Um,
Indian, Portuguese. Whoop,
all
whoop.
right. So you
Explain.
like me, we're both Black Hawaiians.
Yeah,
So I'm
yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this, Ben. Um, did what was living or growing up in Waianae as a Black Hawaiian, did that give you more dramas on the street? Did more people want to fight with you because you were different?
Not necessarily, not at all. Actually, I probably got into like two fights, and guess who those fights were with? My own friends. My own
Yeah,
friends. We got disagreements. Let's square up. Let's duke it out. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Really good friends. But no, I got bullied a little bit by some Hawaiians that was acting up, but they were like Filipino Hawaiians that just was pricks, and they were bullies to everyone else. But nah, I actually, in fact, my brother Chris was kind of popular in Hawaii, in Waianae back in the days, and my brother Walter was really popular too, because in Waianae, back in the day and back in those days, it was the people that could scrap was the one that was the most popular. And my brother Walter he was beating up a lot of people, not like just going out and beating people up, but people would challenge, like, "Hey, we'll scrap, we'll see who the best of the school." And so that was life for us. We're fighting for popularity, should I say. And my brother was
Yeah.
one of the top fighters in Hawaii. He was beating up majority of everybody in the school. And so it's crazy to go back and think of that, because the guys that my brother was beating up, you would think that those guys that got beat up from my brother would treat me bad, right? I was like a nerd. I was a fat kid playing ukulele, and you would think that those guys would pick on me or be mean, but they actually was like really good friends to me, and we understood that these fighting weren't to create enemies. It was just the way of life for us, fighting and making a name and stuff like that. And yeah, I never had any problems. I never had any problems being black in Hawaii at all. And
Wow.
anybody that says that they have, it's probably because their attitude, you know what I mean? A lot of the
Yeah.
black folks that go to Hawaii, they're very aggressive with our women, and a lot of the locals don't like that kind of stuff. And that's what I've experienced. My sisters, most of my sisters dated military men, black military men. So I never
Yeah.
really seen or witnessed any um, um, mistreatment towards because
Wow.
of skin color. Besides holies, I would say I can definitely um, agree that there's been a little bit of prejudice or racism or mistreatment towards the holies for sure. Absolutely, 100%, and the Micronesians too. That's a poor thing. The Micronesians and the howlies probably got treated the worst in Hawaii. And
Yeah.
I think they're all fit in now. I think the Micronesians are settling in now, but before they weren't treated the greatest. Nor is the Howleys. I don't think the Howleys gonna get treated well for a while. They're still they gotta they don't if they don't really what's it called um take in the aloha spirit and the culture of Hawaii, then they're gonna get mistreated.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that the Howleys have trouble with. Richard Bernard, he look howly as eggs, and he's accepted. No problem. Call him Mackenzie, white as snow. And he's just like everyone else. So it's more of the understanding of the island that causes the mistreatment, should I say, of Hawaii, the Hawaiians and the natives. That's what I've experienced as a Black Hawaiian out in
Wow.
Hawaii.
No, no, hey, that's good. I mean, I've never really talked to anybody, from Waianae side, so I'm not sure how the West Side, dealt with the Popolos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yeah,
Well, and I think it may have helped too that you had older siblings as well, so
I had,
that's pretty
yes,
cool.
for sure.
Yeah, no, no, that's really good to hear, and I just wanted to kind of see, like, see if that did have any factor. Wow, that's really good. So,
Oh,
my last thing is this is, or one of the last things is, with this whole BKFC. So, we talked about how you feel, and we both kind of agree that it is a sport that's definitely built for Hawaii. With bare knuckles, it's not MMA, and it's not really boxing, and so I guess like we were talking about this earlier is that they still would need to get okayed to get sanctioned to come to Hawaii. So I guess like you're saying, like they're kind of thinking about it or talking about it now. Did you hear anything from those guys?
so technically, during the weigh-ins and the press conferences and all that kind of stuff, I've been talking to some of the big whips of BKFC, and I've been sprinkling some Hawaii love and aloha into these guys and letting them know like, hey, you guys got to bring this to Hawaii, man. You want to see some banging fights? Bring this to Hawaii. And I talked to a few guys and they're really, really, really interested in bringing this stuff to Hawaii. And my thoughts is like, imagine if they did it like the Super Bowl, not Super Bowl, but yeah, kind of like the Super Bowl. Every Super Bowl they bring it to Hawaii. Just have the Super
Yeah.
Bowl of BKFC in Hawaii every single year. Once a year, we have all the champions come together. We just do like this big banging tournament or something like that,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
have the
Tournament of
logos of Hawaii,
Champions. Yeah, that sounds
Tournament
great.
of Champions in Hawaii, and so just do it like a once a year thing, but just championship titles. Because I'm telling you, every single fighter and every single member of these organizations would love to come to Hawaii, and I know UFC would
Oh
want to come here. It's a paradise,
yeah.
fighting in paradise. Who doesn't want to be in Hawaii? So it just has to make sense. We got to get the noise out
Yeah.
and just really show them that we want to make this happen and we can make it happen. The
Oh yeah.
Hawaii
Well,
needs to
and then
rally
that
around
thing, and
this.
we talked about this earlier, is the next thing is getting a good venue. And
Yeah.
and actually, like, so you being at that live event, when you fought, what was the attendance in the room? Like, at
I
how big was the
Oh, it was big. It was probably the same size as a Blaisdell. And it was packed. It was pretty full house, man. So I think it was probably like 2 to 3,000 people. I would assume. I'm not sure, man. It was packed, man. Like I could hear the crowd. I don't know if you can hear it. I was the first fight of the night, and the
Yeah,
crowd was going crazy. And I could feel the crowd at the first fight. So imagine later down the fights when the cards were kind of starting to get
you're
even
right.
better. So
The
yeah, it
main
was great,
cards,
man. I
yeah.
think the BKFC does a great job at hyping the crowd up, even though they don't have to, engaging them. They put all the bells and whistles involved as well. And they make us feel like superstars right off the rip. So it was great, man. It's killer. That was the crowd.
Wow.
It's awesome. hmm And
Oh
just
wow. So
imagine,
hey, so
like, whew, that's
yeah.
crazy.
So,
Mhm.
right. So I was gonna say, so at the end of this, like, you going through all of this now, like, what is your takeaway? Like, what did you learn that you didn't know about yourself, about the industry, or what I mean? Like, what was the takeaway from this? What did you
I
learn?
think that I think the biggest takeaway was that there is a level of professionalism to the MMA game that I've never experienced before. And so if I ever do want to embark onto the journey of becoming a promoter or any of that kind of aspect of fighting, I would be able to look at an organization and be like, okay, this is what they did. They set the precedent in regards to the professionalism and how fighters should act, and they're promoting like respect and all that kind of stuff to each other. Like we wasn't able to be late. Like it was just super professional. So I think the takeaway from this is hopefully they can come to Hawaii, inspire the local promoters and promotions out in Hawaii to really take a hard look at the fighters and really put them first, and everything else trickles down to the promotion itself, and that's what I felt like they did really well. And yeah, that's pretty much all I think I took away from it, because me
Wow.
taking a break away from it wasn't that bad at all. Actually, I thought it was going to be much much worse, but it wasn't bad at all. I think I need to take another match and kind of get put under kind of some deep waters to figure out to see
Yeah,
where I'm at actually, because I was too
yeah, yeah.
fast. I was too quick. I needed a little bit more time to really test myself and see where I'm truly at.
Oh yeah. Well, and then you kind of touched on this, but I kind of wanted to revisit this one more time. So with you, like you've done more than fighting. So like can you tell us like some of the titles that you've had, or all the titles that you've had in the fight industry?
Got you. Yeah. So I was a photographer. I've been a fighting photographer for a while. I still do it. I just actually shot an event this past Saturday, a professional
Oh,
boxing organization out in Charlotte, North Carolina. The first one in the last 3 years, so it's pretty cool.
oh, wow.
And then I did I do graphic design. I've done a lot of fight posters and banners for fighters. I used to create banners for fighters, create banners for promotions and fight posters and tickets and all that kind of stuff. I also develop websites for fighters and things of that nature. I create logo designs for fighters and all that kind of stuff. What else? I know the business side of things as I am a business major, so I really help to counsel promotions, kind of give them some advice and some technologies that can improve their operations overall. You point them in the right directions for marketing channels as well, and creating what's it called, sponsor templates and stuff like that. Because I feel like a lot of the fighters, promoters, and Hawaii don't understand the idea of kind of creating an organization around support and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I hopefully I'm pioneering that for a lot of fighters. So I've done it all. I wear all hats. I haven't promoted an event because I know it takes a lot of work. I've worked for promoters. I worked with
right.
really closely with promotions, Destiny, Tough Man Hawaii, Up and Up. Just to name a few. And man, so it's I got a lot of experience in helping the fighting, branding myself and helping branding organizations. And there's a lot that goes into it. And so I would love to
So
just
one of the, yeah, one of the things that I wanted you to mention is like you're actually really close with Coach Wally,
oh
and
yeah.
like you were actually working with him, or like like you used to wrap hands at the event. So
Oh, that's
can you
right.
tell
Yeah,
us
I did
something
that too.
about that?
Yeah, so Wally also Wally Carvalho, the cut man for Hawaii, one of Hawaii's cut mans, one of the best in the world at cut man. He actually took me under his wing. He took me all over the world, with the Elite XC, Strike
Oh,
Force, all those types of organizations, and he would have me be his photographer just to get me around and show me some things. He taught me how to wrap hands. I probably wrapped probably 500-600 hands probably over my lifetime so far, and
wow.
it's a skill, it's acquired taste, right, to do these kind of things. And I just love every aspect, whatever I can do to help. I was just plugging into the individuals that are the best and taking those knowledge and just looking and observing, and just that perpetual mindset. Like I said, when it comes to mixed martial arts and stuff, I did create posters and stuff for him as well. Shirts as well. Man, I've done it all, man. I've done it all. Not refereed, but what's that called? Judged events. I've never refed before, but Wally wanted me
Wow.
to ref his next upcoming tournaments of champion that's happening on the 3rd of June. I guess they having a next generation tournament of champions that's coming up, and he wanted me to ref,
Yeah.
but I probably can't because my kids will be still in school.
Uh,
But yeah, that's pretty much some of the main things that I'm aware of that I remember. Yeah, that I've been a
yeah.
part of
No.
the MMA community.
Yeah, no, and that right there, like not a lot of people have been, taken under Coach Wally's wing, you know what I mean? And that's where I really wanted you to kind of mention that part,
For sure.
about the rapid hands, and for me personally, I've seen you in all of these other, positions besides fighting. And I mentioned this to you earlier, man. When I saw you a long time ago, and I met you, I looked at you and I was like, man, this guy is way too smart to be a fighter. Like I was like, I could just see like you just had a big brain, and a lot of knowledge, and with you, like you're like a sponge, like. And so I've watched you with Wally, and really seen how you've turned from a boy, into a man, and taking care of your kids. And for me, it's just so awesome to see, that here we have another, you know great person from Hawaii for people to look up to, and not only in the cage in the ring, but also outside as well. So, I really wanted to mention that to you and just say, man, hey, you are a total all around guy, man. You've done really good for yourself and your family. And this last fight really proved how experienced you are. If people don't know or didn't know that you are a great fighter, 2 minutes in the first round will tell anybody otherwise, man. So I was really really impressed with that, John. And just knowing you, man, I knew that you have a lot of experience, but man, seeing how you put that together, in the ring, it was just mind blowing, man. And so I was just so happy, and that's why I wanted to interview you, because I feel like I know you, but of course, every time when I interview you, I always find out these different things about you that I've never heard before or never known. So I mean, it's awesome to see, man. Thank you so much for taking the time, man.
For sure, I appreciate. This is the second one so far. And I'm pretty sure there's
Yeah.
gonna be
So yeah.
more, man.
So
Always supporting the
oh
locals,
yeah.
baby.
Hey man. Hey, every time you get out there, man, we definitely want to be interviewing you more. The last thing is this, bro. Like like who do you want to thank? Like who out there, like from when you were a baby to now, like all the people who actually put time and effort in building, the untamable John Bernard, man. Tell me,
I
like,
think
who are the people?
I think the main person that I like give a shout out to, even though sometimes this guy drive me nuts on the inconsistency of him, is Colin, man. Colin McKenzie,
Oh,
this guy really believed in me in so much areas, and sometimes he let me down, but overall he started my journey. He pushed me and encouraged me. He said the right words to get me involved, and he really
wow.
pioneered my life. He really mentored me in the right direction. He is an example that a lot of kids can look at and be inspired by. Like, he's a family man, just like I am, and I inspire to be just like him in that aspect of life. Has a great family, great kids, and I just I think outside of that, yeah, that's probably one of the main people that in this world that I would really like to give props to. And then my brother as well, because he's throughout a lot of we've been through a lot of struggles, and as a family, my brother has been always there for me, my biggest supporter out of everybody. Him and my sister Venus, them two have been probably my biggest supporters through a lot of my fighting career. My sister Venus was the first person to financially support me. She bought my first fighting trunks, remember my orange fight trunks? She bought that.
Yeah.
She believed in me. That was the first person that really put their 100% trust and backing in me. And then my brother was always there at most of my fights, supporting me from day one. He was one of the guys that wanted to beat up Colin for putting me in a match against an animal by the name of Todd Young on my first fight. But that just shows the care and love that these people have for me. So that's
Yeah.
probably it. And then my team, Top Tiger, Miguel, this Andre, Coach Andre has been a freaking phenomenal person in my life. Such a strong believer of God, and we're able to hold each other accountable. This guy is like 50 something years old, and we hold each other accountable. He reminds me how good God is into our how good God is in our lives, and how God will never let us down and all that kind of stuff. And he's been probably one of the pillars in my faith, my faith and my belief and all that kind of stuff. Me and him have been kind of just pushing through and really working through these seasons of difficult struggles and stuff like that, and just giving God the praise in all the areas that He deserves. And then I'm and my kids, man. I cannot thank my kids enough, because that's one of the big drivers, the big motivators, right? They motivate me to be better every day. They encourage me through just being amazing kids. I don't have bad kids. Like, I'm not sure how many people can say that, like, they don't have bad kids and genuinely mean it. You know what I mean? Like, know for a fact that they don't have bad kids. Because I met some people that got some baby's kids and they think their kids are great. No, but I got some really, really good kids. Like, hands down, just entertaining, superstar, God fearing children, man. It's crazy, man, how I'm blessed with these children. So those are the individuals that I feel like hold a a dear place in my heart. So my family brought a call in, my kids and their mom as well, and anyone else that believed in me as well. They deserve all the what's it called, the clout as well. My sponsors, all the people that I mentioned earlier: Precision Construction, Lucky Owl, Makai, Eddie, King Eddie, Misguided Individuals, BK Bet Shark, Top Gun Barber, and then New Level Concepts. Just thank all of those guys, and I'm pretty sure I'll probably get more sponsors now. I hope jump on board because those prices go up, my boy. No.
Yeah,
No, but yeah,
yeah,
so
bro.
all of the old timers that just everyone that's still trusting and believe and still looking out and watching and following my journey. A lot of people still follow me. I wasn't planning on fighting, but I've been training, and people still looking out. Wow, you still looking good and blah blah blah. Those people as well, everyone that follows me on all of the social media platforms and that's still encouraging me and saying kind words, those things keep me going. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much all I feel like. And then the main person, main person that's been really keeping me rooted is my savior. Lord Jesus Christ has been really pulling me through some difficult times and really reminding me how great his love and mercy is on our lives and stuff like that. So yeah.
Wow. Hey, no, man, I tell you that's awesome to see, and I just got to tell you, man, when it comes to kids, man, what you put in is what you get out, man, and so
100%.
that's awesome to see.
100%.
Awesome to see, man. You've been doing really great things, and I'm just so proud of everything that you've accomplished, man. So last but not least, man, if people want to find out more about the Untamable John Barnard, man, where can they find information? You're on Facebook. You
There
got
I
a
am on
website?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I do. So my website is untamable.net, UNTAMEABLE .net. I know you spelled it a little bit wrong, but but untamable.net. And then you can follow me on all social media platforms, including LinkedIn, at untamable61. And all of my details and everything of that nature is easily you can find me. Type of John Bernard, you'll find me on pretty much everything. I've been around for a little bit, took a break, but I'm still there. So untamable.net. You can also find me at Top Tiger Team Boxing as well. I have a link to my website and everything else there as well. I'm one of the head coaches and managers of Top Tiger. So if anybody is looking for, coaching, training, and all that kind of stuff, come hit us up, man. We are a great family-oriented Christian gym that is not just can do it all. You want to be a fighter, we got you. You want to be in the greatest shape for the summer, we got you. So we have it all. And so yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that anybody needs to know. Untamable.net, everything you need to know. Top Tiger Team Boxing, everything you need to know is right there. And I
All right,
appreciate
man.
you
Hey,
having me. Appreciate it.
yeah, no, thank you so much for making the time and coming to talk to me, and and really, like, letting everybody else in Hawaii, your friends and family, know what's going on, and what's going on in the world of John Bernard and how you feel, man. So thank you very much, bro. Continued success, man, and we look forward to talking to you again, man. So thank you very much. And for those of you out there, if you guys enjoyed it, hopefully drop us a like or a comment, and hopefully you guys like it. This is the first one for the podcast, so we look to be doing more of these, with hopefully with less unscripted edits. We'll call it that. Yeah, but yeah, so thank you folks very much, and we really appreciate it. And hey, man, John, I can't wait for your next fight. So as soon as you hear anything, let us know so we can let our public know what's coming up for you, man.
For sure, for sure. Absolutely, man. Thank
All
you.
right, so
And I hope to
and
see you again,
everybody,
brother.
oh, thank you, and everybody out there, thank you very much, guys, for following. Have a great day.
Easy.